Well, they say third time's a charm. We will see if that's correct. Hopefully, people will come back and try it again. Try it again. All right, everybody, here we go. Hopefully, this is a little better. I've done everything that I can. Hey, Cindy, Motown, how's everybody? I've pulled out all the tricks that I know. So if that doesn't do it, and it's still glitchy, this has to be Periscope, and it's not connecting to Facebook. So, hey, Sylvia, good to see you. I don't know if this is going to work today. Yeah, good enough. Yeah. Well, it has to be Periscope today because it is not working well at all, and I can see that. So anyway, hey Marlene, hey Aussie Nick, don't forget, as I was saying before, that today at 10 a.m., 1 p.m. is God's views on political news, and hopefully Periscope won't be screwing up so bad that you won't be able to get that. So I have no idea what's causing this today. I've done everything. Hi, Susan and Gracie. Yes, it is Periscope. They're doing weird stuff, Cindy Mack said. Yeah, it has to be because I've restarted every part of my system that I have. So it has to be them. So, all right. So let me see what I can get started with again. What I was going to show you before is that we have this is Epstein. All the victims that are going to Epstein's. Could you nuke it? Yeah, maybe I have to. Well, it's just Periscope. Just persevere, Susan. Even if video freezes, you can talk us through it. Okay, Nick, I'll try. It's the devil, Rick said. Could be, because nothing seems to be working right. Okay, so the woman that you see with the long blonde hair, she is a woman who claims that she sued Epstein in 2015. She also claims that has had sex with Prince Andrew. And there's also about 4 unidentified women that showed up this morning with Gloria Allred. They're going to be suing the estate. There are about 30 women altogether that are going to be testifying in Manhattan. And they're also going after part of the estate that was given to Epstein's brother, Mark, which is $577 million. So he can just, I don't know if they're going to freeze that, and he's going to have to hold on to it. Because if he still has it and the courts want him to, he's going to have to keep it. Yeah, good morning. Hey, Bob, good to see you. Good morning, everybody. It's the Russians. I know, that's probably it. Okay, this lovely lady here is Lisa Page. Seeing a lot of talk yesterday about the fact that she may save Andrew McCabe, because she said that she told a grand jury in Washington, D.C., remember when she was testifying before, that McCabe was authorized in his position as deputy director to give information to the media and had no motive to lie. Now, is she royalty now should be for what she went through? Clara said, yeah, exactly. So I don't know if Lisa Page has the authority to speak for everybody else. I doubt it, but her testimony may help. Comey has said that he did not give McCabe permission to leak, and when Sessions fired McCabe, he stated the deputy director made an unauthorized disclosure to the news media and lacked candor, including under oath or multiple occasions. So Lisa Page's testimony may be one thing that is said, but it may not be enough to save him. So hold on 1 second. So we'll see what happens. Lisa Page, she'd be the last person I think that you should depend upon to tell you what's actually going on and what's true or not. Now, McCabe basically, in May 2017, after Trump fired James Comey as FBI director, McCabe authorized the FBI to investigate Trump for obstruction of justice. I don't know if you remember that. And McCabe also opened an investigation into whether then Attorney Jeff Sessions committed perjury about Russia contacts during his Senate confirmation hearings. The special counsel's report cleared Sessions of any wrongdoing. Now, why the FBI would be interested in whether or not Sessions committed perjury, that would be up to the DOJ and not up to the FBI. Aussie Nick said, expect a marriage so they can't testify against each other. No, Aussie Nick, it doesn't work that way. Page and Strzok can't marry each other now. They'd have to be married at the time of the crime. I'm getting very exhausted of people not being held accountable with consequences for behavior, Judy said. Yep. You know, the FBI would make a good for a soap opera. It would make, yeah, I know. Especially when Comey was in the lead, Dawn. McCabe also arranged a January 24, 2017 interview between FBI agents and then National Security Advisor Michael Flynn. Flynn pleaded guilty in the special counsel's investigation to lying to the agents regarding his conversations a month earlier with then Russian Ambassador Sergei Kislyak. I can't say his name, so I'm not even going to try. I'm not even going to pretend I can say his name, so I'm not even going to do that. So we'll see where all that goes, but I kind of wanted to bring you some information on that. Okay, thanks for clarifying that for me. Says you are welcome, Aussie Nick. All right, some other things that are happening today. Let me pull these up for you. I'm kind of moving at lightning speed because I wanted to get some of these things in here for you, and with having to restart 5,000 times, it's very difficult to do. Let's see. Okay, so today, I don't know if you've heard about this. Maybe you have. If I can pull that up. Come on, come up. Nothing seems to want to work today. It's one of those days. Technology, it's not a technology day. Maybe this is the anti-technology day. So let me see if I can get this up. All right. So this is a lawsuit that you can see here. This is Prager University versus Google and YouTube. So Prager University today, they filed this lawsuit in the United States District Court for the Northern District of California to stop Google and YouTube from unlawfully censoring its educational videos and discriminating against its right to freedom of speech. Today, they lost that first go around with the district court, but they are up on appeal today. So it's going to be heard by the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals today. The lawsuit cites more than 50 Prager University videos, which has either been restricted or demonetized by Google, all with a conservative point of view. And Google and YouTube said they restricted it because they wanted to protect younger or sensitive viewers. Now, this is Prager University we're talking about, okay? There's nothing pornographic. You get more porn and stuff like that on Twitter than you'll ever get from Prager University. And I think Google and YouTube understand that. But Google and YouTube said that it was inappropriate video content, but as a political gag mechanism to silence Prager University. That's what Prager is saying. Google and YouTube do this not because they have identified video content that violates their guidelines or is otherwise inappropriate, but because PragerU is a conservative nonprofit organization. PragerU bankrupt the big tech, Aussie Nick says. Yeah, that would be nice. PragerU said this is speech discrimination, plain and simple, censorship based entirely on unspecified ideological objection to the message or on the perceived identity and political viewpoint of the speaker. And so part of the people on the attorneys that are representing representing Prager University is the former mayor of San Diego, which is kind of interesting to see that. But white supremacists, whatever. I tell you, it's going to be interesting. Garbage defense from Google, yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. I would hope that the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals would rule the right way, and it may have to go to the Supreme Court if it will. Accountability of tech companies is long overdue. Somebody has to sue them, Clara. Because otherwise we're just never ever going to get equal treatment, because there's a two-tiered system. Everybody I think is starting to become painfully aware of the fact that there's a two-tiered system. Now maybe I can take a deep breath and slow it down just a tiny bit. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, there's been for the last couple of days, I think it was a day or two ago, there was the hashtag Obama outdid Trump. You may have seen that on Twitter. absolutely ridiculous, of course. He never outdid Trump and never will, even in his dreams. But I want to I want to play for you just a little segment from Terrence K. Williams, because every now and then you just need to have a little laugh. Otherwise, politics will drive you crazy. So here is Terrence K. Williams, if I can get that to pop up. If it will do it, come on, let's go. I just love the fact that technology today is just. Okay, here goes.
Okay, so before I go in here and get me some chicken wings, I want to know, how did Obama outdo Trump? Everybody talking about hashtag Obama outdid Trump. How can you outdo somebody when you didn't do nothing? I'm confused. How does that work out, huh? Now let's say Obama did outdo something. Okay, I can agree. Obama outdid not doing nothing for the black community. Obama outdid lying to us. Obama, you played the black community for a fool. We believed in you and you played us for a fool. We're not the only ones believed in you, Obama. You had a whole bunch of other white folks that believed in you, Hispanics, Asians, people from all over the world, all kinds of people, and you lied and played a lot of people. And that's why we walked away from the Democratic Party. That's why we can't get down with y'all, okay? Because y'all do nothing but lie. Obama outdid who and what and when and where. Oh, and hold on, I forgot. Obama outdid messing up health care and ruining the economy. That's what you outdid. Talking about you outdid Trump. How, boy, how, Obama? Okay? Now, you could have outdid Trump. You could have outdid him if you were not sleeping on the job so much. Okay? You slept on the job, Obama. You didn't do nothing. All you did was sleep and play golf. Okay? And hang with rappers. And hang with superstars in the White House. Trump been done did that before he became president. He was hanging with them before he became president, okay? So he don't need to hang with them. Trump is trying to hang with the citizens and people who really want to get stuff done so we can get this country together.
So I wish that had moved a little bit better. I could see that it was a little sticking there on. Again, I think it's Periscope today, and I don't. There's nothing I can do about Periscope. So, anyway, he is hilarious as always. So I wanted to bring a little humor in today with Terrence Williams. He took selfies too. Yeah, he did. He took selfies and everything else, and that's what he did in the White House. And bowed to our enemies. Yep, absolutely. He bowed to our enemies and everything else he could do. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that Terrence Williams there. Now I have another little YouTube to show you. Yesterday, hopefully this YouTube will even play, but there was a verdict that came down. I don't know if you heard about the verdict in Johnson and Johnson, but I wanted you. Thanks, Judy. Yeah, the sound at least is working. I wanted you to see this video from the judge and hear what the judge had to say. Here we go on the video. Or we can just watch the commercial. I'll have to get to the. It's not supposed to play the commercial, but of course it would, because today is that one of those days. We'll try it again and see if it works. This is so unbelievable. This has been working perfectly well all week, and that's why it has to not work today. Okay, 1 second. Let me get this back up. See if it's.
a public nuisance that can be abated, and the proper remedy for public nuisance is equitable abatement. As I just stated, the opioid crisis has ravaged the state of Oklahoma. It must be abated immediately. For this reason, I am entering an abatement plan that consists of costs totaling $572,102,028 to immediately remediate the nuisance. As I detail in my judgment, this is the amount of costs that I am constrained to order Janssen and Johnson & Johnson to pay based on the particulars of a nuisance claim and the evidence that was presented at trial. Whether additional programs and funding are needed over an extended period of time, those are determinations to be made by our legislators and policymakers. In this moment, and based on this record, this is what the court can and will do to abate the nuisance.
Wow, I tell you, those people, they're going to appeal that because that is a huge verdict. Is this something where they say that state prosecutors said the opioid epidemic was fueled by Johnson & Johnson and led to more than 6,000 deaths over nearly 2 decades? That's pretty amazing. Very specific on the amount there. And it's, as you heard the court say, there may be other things that they need to do, and they're going to look into that and see if that needs to be done. So, that's pretty amazing. So anyway, sorry in the very beginning. How did they prove it? Well, Motown, I'm sure that there was case after case after case after case, but we'll see. Halftime, everybody, please retweet. Thank you, Judy. Yeah, it's unfortunate today that this, I don't know, it's so disappointing in what is happening today on Twitter. It really is disappointing. But anyway, okay, so I'm going to try to show you another YouTube. This one may not come out at all because of the fact that it's everything's not working. Hey, Barbara. I'm going to show you what happened yesterday, if it'll work, at a McDonald's. And this is kind of, hey, Debbie, where our society's going.
This is getting
So that's kind of that's a snippet of where our society is today. This woman supposedly, this was a customer who threw restaurant equipment at employees, as you can see in the video, and she was told they were out of ice cream, so she couldn't get her McFlurry, and this is the reaction that she had. And it's so bad, so much profanity that you really can't hear anything because it just beeped out totally. But in another case on July 22nd, a similar instance occurred when a woman entered McDonald's in Garden City, Georgia, holding a gun and reportedly complaining that her fries were cold. Yeah, what in the world is right, Miss Nikki? It's kind of like we've gotten to this point in our society. Robin says society is falling apart. Yeah. What's a McFlurry? I have no idea. I guess it's what they call a milkshake, Judy. I don't know. But the owner of the restaurant said the woman had previously ordered her food and left, but later returned with the gun because her French fries were cold. And it used to be that people understood that if they did something like this, they were going to go to jail. And now there's a total disconnect in what you can do. People, opening up ice cream, licking ice cream. People just doing stupid stuff, but which amounts to a crime, and they just think that they can walk away with nothing. with no consequences. And sometimes they do. Mental illness, I think probably in some cases, Motown, but not in every one. That happens every time I want one. I run out and God says no ice cream, Barbara said. And yesterday too, there was this, listen to this, in Sacramento, California, at this water park. There was a family of like 15, and their friends, and a family of about 20 and their friends. And a argument arose over somebody taking a beach towel that the other family thought belonged to them. And it got so bad, there were like 40 people in a brawl. One guy was knocked unconscious, and he's now in critical condition. He was unconscious, and he didn't have a heartbeat when they found him. And they had to close down the attraction over a beach towel. Okay? I won't even buy ice cream now, Robin said. It's just absolutely ridiculous. All right, so let me get back up and see if the connection. All right, so I'm going to try to show you another video that I have too. This one you will absolutely love if it works. So let me see. Tap on. All right, let me go back to my live here. All right, I can see that the connection is really bad today. I pray that God's views, that Periscope will have their problem fixed by then, but who knows? Who knows? Okay, watch this. If it comes up, and you'll love this. What you're looking at here is 60 miles of border wall completed near Arizona, and their expectation is that it will complete an additional 450 miles by the end of 2020. Look at that beautiful border wall there. I mean, that is amazing. People have lost their minds. Shaking my head, Miss Priscilla said. It's true. It's true. People have really lost. It's unfortunate to see it. It really is. The least little thing sets people off these days, it seems like. Robin said God is the answer, but people have turned their backs on him. Yeah. Say, don't you steal my beach towel, Wayne said. I mean, a beach towel, and a guy is in a coma. I mean, come on. Yesterday, a homeless man crossed the street in front of me, and I honked, and he flipped me off. I smiled. Barbara said. Yep, this is the wall, Judy. Look, I mean, it is, they're really, really getting that wall done. And that 60 miles of wall, and they've shown some pictures where the wall has kept people out. That sometimes it's like 30 feet high, so it's keeping people out. And it's really nice. We build the wall. Yep. We build it and build it and build it. So 450 more miles due by the end of 2020. That's a lot of wall, and that's pretty darn good. Can it be climbed? Well, yeah, it can be probably, but it's about, 30 feet high, something like that. It wouldn't be something that you'd really want to try to climb over. If nothing else, it will slow you down. That's a good part. Yep, finish the wall, Arm John said. Absolutely. And 450 more miles onto that. That's pretty good. That's really good. I mean, there are sometimes pictures that I've seen in Arizona, the wall's about that, 3 feet high, maybe. And this will certainly, yeah, I know it's really beautiful, Margie. This will certainly slow people down, if nothing else. And I think it will do a lot to curb a lot of that activity there. Now, let's see. This is another one, another video that I have. This is something that is in my article today at SusanKnowles.com. And I'm going to show you part of a video that somebody has made. And then if you want to see CPS actually coming to the house, you will need to go to my article at SusanKnowles.com and watch that video there. So let me see if I can get this one up. This one is actually really well done. This was done by a friend of the family. And let me see if I can get this going. All right, here we go.
My son was kidnapped 8 weeks ago, and he wasn't taken by a drug cartel or a criminal organization. He was taken from my home in broad daylight by the state of Texas. How could this happen? These were the thoughts that were running through my mind when I watched this happen to my friends Ashley and Daniel a few weeks ago. I had to put myself in their shoes. How would I feel if this were my son being ripped from me? Drake is 4 years old and he's had a lot of medical needs, and his parents took him to Children's Medical Center in Dallas. One of the doctors from Children's Medical Center, who had never seen Drake, never spoken to him, never spoken to the parents, never given Drake any type of medical care, did a partial review of Drake's medical file and reported the family to Child Protective Services. The next day, CPS showed up at the family's house and left a business card on their door. CPS had also never met the family, never met Drake, and never spoken to a single doctor or other person who had any first-hand knowledge of any of Drake's medical conditions. All the same, CPS showed up at the family's house unannounced and without warning 2 weeks later with armed police officers and forcibly removed him from his home. Drake has never come back home. So Ashley and Daniel went to court to figure out why. Why was Drake taken? What had they done wrong? What was the emergency? And I went to court with them. What we heard there shocked all of us. CPS gave 2 reasons for why Drake had to be removed from his home in an emergency. They said that the family had failed to attend a meeting with the hospital on June 10th. But CPS also testified under oath that they had intentionally not informed the family that that meeting was happening. So how was the family supposed to show up at a meeting that they didn't know was taking place? The second reason that CPS gave why Drake had to be removed from his home was because of the doctor who originally reported the family to CPS. But that doctor got up on the stand and testified under oath that she had not reviewed all of Drake's medical records, never thought there was an emergency requiring that Drake be removed from his home, never requested that Drake be removed from his home, and was surprised to learn that Drake had been removed from his home. But worst of all, when that doctor was asked how her medical recommendations could be met as long as Drake remained in CPS care, she said, "I don't know." You would think that after all of this was laid out publicly that CPS would admit their error and back down. But instead, CPS dug in their heels and refused to admit their mistake in order to save face. Instead of returning Drake, I watched CPS stand up in the courtroom and ask the judge to keep Drake even longer. And unbelievably, the judge closed his eyes to the facts and allowed CPS to keep Drake for up to a year. Ashley and Daniel are living a nightmare. Their son is 4 years old. He needs to be home with his family who loves him, not with a government agency who's gone out of control and refuses to admit its error. But there's one other twist that you need to know about this. At the end of that court hearing, the judge put a gag order on Ashley and Daniel. If they spoke with the media or were part of this video or posted on Instagram about what's happening to their son, they could be thrown in jail. Ashley and Daniel can't stand up for their own son because the court put a gag order on them. Drake can't stand up for himself because he's 4 years old and he's being held in state custody. The state of Texas has refused to stand up for Drake. They're the ones who kidnapped him from his home. CPS protects thousands of children, but they're not protecting Ashley and Daniel's son. Drake is experiencing the most traumatizing event of his life. He's been ripped from his family and he's being held by the state with no end in sight. So who will speak up for Drake? Who is even left to protect him? We are. We are Drake's last hope. If we don't stand up for Drake, no one else will. CPS, the judge, and the hospital need to be held accountable. We will not rest until we bring Drake home. Take action at bringdrakehome.com. We are the only ones left who can speak for Drake. Don't be silent. Visit bringdrakehome.com to see how you can help.
This is a horrible case that, we see sometimes played out over and over. If you want to see the video, because I know this one is not working well on the screen today, just go to susanknowles.com and look at my my article for today. And in that article, you will see this video, just of what I just played here. And you will also see the video of CPS coming to the house. It will break your heart when you see what actually happens when CPS comes to your house to take your children. And I know a lot of people have said, and I've seen comments saying, well, they over my dead body. Well, if I guess if that's the way you want it, because if CPS wants your child, they will take your child. And as I've said many times before, CPS is a very powerful organization. You heard him say that CPS even admitted to wrongdoing and didn't even tell the parents when a hearing was coming up, because they wanted to fool the parents and not let them know that there was a hearing, so that basically there would be the court would make a ruling and they would be left out of it. So I would expect this from California and not Texas. It happens all over, Sylvia. You would be shocked that it happens all over the United States. I've met our family judge. He's awesome. He feels God has prepared him to entire life for this. Chesney said, did I miss something in the beginning? Why? Texas CPS is bad, Barbara said. Basically what happened is they took this child to the doctor and they wanted a second opinion. And if you remember years and years ago, I think it was 2013 or something like that, with the Justina Pelletier case, and that's in the article too. This happens all the time in a lot of cities. This is not just particular to Texas or California. This is all over. I have personally seen people that went through all the hoops that CPS asked them to go through, and they were still denied custody, to return custody of their children to them. So this is very, very common, and this is one of the scarier things that I've ever seen. But now, go to my website, SusanKnowles.com. There is a petition, there's a link in there to the petition that you can sign if you think that this is something that should never have been done to this child. You're welcome to go there and sign that. Barbara was saying, I saw her say that the governor was looking into it. If they've gone through everything and they've been told that CPS had lied, and like I said, the allegations are that CPS did say that they admitted to lying. If they admitted to lying, and the doctor is saying, I don't know how you would treat this patient when he's not, when custody's taken away, or whatever the case may be. This child, obviously, there's no signs of that we've been told of anything happening to this child. Holistic Deb said CPS profits from the kidnapping of young children, so children under 5 are the most often taken. As I said, I used to do a lot of research on foster care, CPS, and things like that. And when you start dabbling in that, people don't like it. And I was threatened and chose to not put my family in any more harm, because I don't have the armed guards that other people may have. So I couldn't risk it. Amount of child abuse outcomes from state agency intervention trafficking is disgusting, Nick said. It's important to know the judges you vote for, Judy said. A lot of doctors are on the take. Clara said, share the article, sign the petition, imagine this happening to you. Yeah, and it's just that easy. You get a knock on the door, and it's CPS, and they want to take your child. Pretty much they're going to take your child. I mean, they tell you, don't open the door, don't come outside, don't let the kid come outside. You know what? That's really risky. Really, really risky. So, anyway, I hope this boy is returned to his family. There's no telling what kind of psychological damage that he has suffered from being taken like that and being taken away from his family, seemingly for no reason at all. All right, Democrats in the Democrat states, of course, California, are suing the Trump administration because they don't want the illegal immigrants to be held indefinitely with their children. Coalition of Democratic State Attorney General announced Monday they're suing to block the administration's new rules that would allow illegal immigrant families to be detained with their deportation while their deportation hearings are taking place. And it's led by California, Massachusetts. Officials said that their states are responsible for ensuring health and safety of children. There you go, health and safety. Wayne said, my wife has to work with CPS here in Texas. Yeah. I saw clients, I saw the kids that CPS had taken. And a lot of times I saw the parents who were coming to me because CPS said you have to jump through these hoops in order to get your kids back. And even going through the hoops that they were supposed to do, some of them didn't get their kids back. So, all right. So they said keeping children in detention with their parents is harmful. Didn't we just hear how parents and the children should stay together? So now when we took care of that, now it's, oh wait, it's harmful to have them together. They need to be separated. And what? Turned over to pedophiles, as Obama did to human traffickers and pedophiles when those kids were released. So we just watched a CPS account so you can kind of see a little bit of what's going on. Anyway, all right. Now, another thing that came up, this is our illustrious Attorney General of California, Becerra, Xavier Becerra. I'm not even sure he has a law license, but anyway. A Christian Legal Center appealed to the Supreme Court Monday challenging California's law that forces nonprofits to disclose donors to the state attorney general's office. The Thomas More Law Center said California's Attorney General, this Mr. Becerra here, has shown an inability to protect the information from disclosure, so forcing nonprofits to turn the information over trashes the group's constitutional rights. Hey, Monica. Well, Monica, we have a problems today with Periscope. That's what you missed. So anyway, this we'll see what the courts do with this. Obviously, Becerra, it appears, is intentionally giving this information, leaking this information, so that conservative nonprofit organizations, or at least organizations that get their money from conservatives, aren't going to be so apt to do that because all of that information is going to be made public. I mean, isn't that just disgusting? I mean, it's really disgusting. And that's California, but that's other states as well. But this one happens to be California. All right, I'm going to try to show another YouTube. I'm sure it's not going to work here because of the luck that we're having today. But this is something that took place. I'm going to go ahead and play this if it'll play, and then we'll talk about it and see what you think about it. Let me see if I can get it. Here we go.
Your Twitter account after a controversy that involved someone calling you a name. Would you like to comment on that?
Yeah, I'm going to be careful with my words because I know these are going to be examined carefully. So I think Twitter brings out the worst in its users. It tends to bring out the worst in its users. And yesterday, a professor at George Washington University described me as a bedbug or a metaphorical bedbug, just in the context of the New York Times having a bedbug problem in our building. And I think that kind of rhetoric is dehumanizing and totally unacceptable, no matter where it comes from. So I wrote him a personal email. I didn't go to Twitter. I wrote him a personal email, which I think was very civil, saying that I didn't appreciate it, that I would welcome him to come to my home in New York, meet with my family, and see if he would call me a bedbug to my face. Because a lot of things people say on social media aren't the things they're really prepared to say in one-on-one interactions. I also copied his provost on the note. People are upset about this. I want to be clear. I had no intention whatsoever to get him in any kind of professional trouble, but it is the case at the New York Times and other institutions that people should be aware, managers should be aware of the way in which their people, their professors or journalists interact with the rest of the world. That's certainly the case with me at the New York Times. My editors are always aware of what I'm saying, and I've sometimes been called to account, rightly so. He then posted my email on Twitter, so people are free to go and look at what I had to say. All I would say is that using dehumanizing rhetoric like bedbugs or, analogizing people to insects is always wrong. We can do better. We should be the people on social media that we are in real life.
I would agree with that final statement for sure. Is that the worst thing that you have ever been called on social media?
There's a bad history of being called, of being analogized to insects that goes back to a lot of totalitarian regimes in the past. I've been called worse. I wrote this guy a personal note. Now it's out there for everyone to see.
Brett.
Okay, so this guy was called a bedbug, and it's very difficult for him to handle that. I don't think people should be calling people names. I do think that you should behave yourself when you're on Twitter, and you should be talking to somebody as if you were talking to them face to face. But you were called a bedbug. I mean, sometimes I wish that was the only name that I had been called. I've been called a lot worse, especially on Twitter and on Periscope, by people who don't even know me, who say things, about me. So, but this guy was so distraught over it that he took down his Twitter account. He closed it down. He felt the need to contact this guy's employer by sending that information. And Barbara's saying he could have been called worse. He could have been called a lot worse. I mean, come on. Now, the guy who wrote it, this professor at, I think it was George Washington University, David Karpf, he said the bedbugs are a metaphor. The bedbugs are Brett Stevens. That's what he said. That's all he said. And so this guy is basically saying, oh my gosh, that's Brett Stevens is saying, oh, that's just a way to say, another way for totalitarian governments to use insects as a way of calling you a name or whatever. I mean, I just think that's just over the top. If you are a New York Times writer and the term bedbug is a little bit difficult for you, I don't even know what to say. I really don't. And the professor said, you know what? It got 9 likes, no retweets, and I didn't even send it to the guy. I didn't even put his at name there. I just did that, and people went crazy. So anyway, we have about 5 minutes left. I know, come on. Sylvia said he's a snowflake. Yeah, a true snowflake, a true meaning of the word snowflake. I also wanted to, in the last couple of minutes that we have, and again, I apologize today for Periscope being so crappy. I know it's run by people that are proud that they run it, but it's been really crappy today. It's 3rd grade. Yes, it is. I also wanted to remind everybody we still have the volunteer sign-up sheets for the 24/7 prayer group. You just go to SusanKnowles.com, you click on sign-ups, and if you go there, we have 593 I guess open slots for the remainder of the month. I intend to bring it back in September. I'm hoping that more people will sign on. Our country is in a pretty bad state of affairs, as we've seen, or we tried to see, by the videos today of like the lady who was in McDonald's throwing equipment around because there was no milkshake, or the woman who came back in supposedly with a gun because her French fries were cold, or yesterday's melee where 40 people approximately got into a fight. One man is in a coma still, who was knocked unconscious and didn't have a heartbeat over a beach towel. Okay, so we have some issues, right? We have some issues in this country. I think one of the best ways that we can handle those issues is to pray. And that's why I set up that 24-hour, 7-day-a-week prayer room, so that people could just go in and volunteer a little bit of their time. Holistic Deb said my 6-year-old was called worse than that on the playground yesterday and didn't cry. Holistic Deb, maybe you should send that to the New York Times and let them know that, because it is embarrassing that the guy was that upset. I mean, come on. But anyway, if you have time and you can pray for the country, give an hour of your time. If it's an hour of your time for 1 hour for the month, that would be great. Please tell other people about it. We have got to start trying to get the information out to people about how our country is changing, how much prayer is needed, how off the rails some people have gone. Now I know some of it is mental illness, some of it is that, the I don't care attitude. Whatever the case may be, we're in desperate times here. We need prayer, and it would be great if everybody would sign up and go there and just, like I said, volunteer an hour of your time praying for the country, praying for the president, praying for yourself, each other, anything. Pray, because we need that. Well, I think the country is okay. The media is making people nuts, Barbara said. Well, the fact that the people are going nuts because of the media, Barbara, there's a problem. So we need to pray for those people that are so, I don't know, persuaded, encouraged to go off the rails because of the media or whatever. We really need to do something about that and pray that our country would be more stable. Because we don't have that right now. A lot of stability has gone out the window. It rained this morning after 112 degree index yesterday, Barbara said. So anyway, I thank you for coming here today. Hopefully, again, like I said, God's Views on Political News is coming up in 1 hour. And I am just hopeful that Periscope will clear up. If you can't get it on Periscope, you can always go to Facebook. Can't get it on Facebook, you can go to YouTube, and hopefully one of those will have the live show. Again, it's at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. Personal point of privilege, Susan. Please don't mock my beach towel. I know. Robin said we need to be praying. Sign up. It's not hard. Pick a time and pray. Read God's word whenever you can. Absolutely.